big birthday party for him at our home. That was not this birthday party. This is also a wonderful, I think this is one of his most endearing moments for him, because his students surprised him by coming on his birthday in 1939 and singing Philadelphia for him. And my mother kept him in the house while these people came. It was a total surprise party. And when he came out, they were there and they sang Philadelphia. And it must have been extremely emotional and nice for him, because what he really cared about most, I think, was his students and his colleagues, the few who really knew who he was. About UCLA and another birthday party, his 75th birthday, the Polish quartet, was in Los Angeles. They were going to play, and it was a huge party. And it just happened that that same day, September 13th, I was to sign up as a student at UCLA, and this was my first registration there, and I drove to Westwood and found 2,000 people in front of me. And I realized that I would never have been home on time for the party. So, since my father had taught there, I knew several of the administrators and professors, so I went to one of these and I said, excuse me, but that's my father's 75th birthday and there's this party and I'm never going to be there on time. And, you know, I feel terrible about this. And I immediately received a pass to go to the front of the line. And in about 10 minutes, I was registered as a student at UCLA. I came home thrilled, happy, triumphant, and told my father, look, Daddy, it was so nice, you know, I got this pass, Professor Lazier gave me this pass, and I got in before all these 2,000 other students who were waiting, and my father was furious. He said, what, you used my name to gain an advantage? You must earn your advantages in life. You can't just go on other people's merits.
Getting to our purpose in some of the things we say is to present Schoenberg as a person, either as a god or a devil, as he's usually depicted as one or the other. And I think it's somewhat necessary, because I was at the center in Vienna, and a person who's very much a Schoenberg devotee and a scholar was there. And we have this, part of which you saw, one of the things we have up there is a video of him playing tennis, and there's some other scenes with people where he's laughing and joking around. And this person said, this doesn't belong there. And he was serious, and because he looks at Schoenberg as this, for him, it's a god. And this makes him a person. And we also want to show the human side of Arnold Schoenberg, and it's one of our reasons for doing it.
Which is also in his music, and which is something that a lot of people do not think about, and which, fortunately, I think in this conference is coming out. You know, it's not just a lot of numbers and letters. We always have that. But that was not.
Food,
You know, food was not that important in our family, and also it was like we would have steaks that were very tough because they cost less, and then we would complain, obviously, and he would say, that's what you have teeth for.
Spoke what my father called Schönste-Language. It was a mixture of German and English, and we often didn't know which we were speaking. Actually, we started out speaking German. Our parents spoke German, and once we went to school, we would answer in English. I'm going to tell a story about you, if I can, Larry. In school,
Uh-oh.
Wait, do I have a choice?
Yeah.
I think now's a good time to stop.
Yeah, this will show how we felt about language. I was schooling older than Larry, and I was called by the teacher once and said, "Come, there's something wrong with your little brother. And he's saying something and we can't figure out what he means." And I said, "What's wrong, Larry?" I went to Larry and he said, "I feel herbal."
Oh, my
That's what he was
God.
telling them, "I feel herbal," because herbal means ill, nauseous, sick. But he didn't know that he was speaking
I had a
German.
different way of
Yeah.
informing than what I
Oh, I didn't know that.
So that's the language. we
When I
spoke.
first came to Venice with my husband, and I was on one of these vaporetti, and it was very hot and muggy, and we were speaking German to each other only because I couldn't speak Italian, he couldn't speak English, and all of a sudden I was about to faint, and I said, you know, in German, I said, you know, I'm about to faint, and he said, "Oh yes." I said, "I'm about to faint." You know, "Ugh," you know, I said, "What does that mean?" You know.
That was
These
very,
things happen when.
that was very common for the immigrant families. I mean, you speak one language, the German and
Well,
the answered back in English.
One thing that was not so common is that they kept speaking German. A lot of immigrants in the United States didn't want to speak German anymore, didn't want to have anything to do with the German culture and so on. I mean, they just cut it off. But
Speaking of cutting it off,
cutting it
Okay.
off.